Might just
Danny, you act like I don't know how to edit. It's fucking hilarious. I don't get it. This is the outtake. I love the outtakes part of this.
That's alpha.
Yeah. Danny can't read. Big facts.
Boom. Roasted.
Y'all ready to record a video?
And here we go.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome into another Fantasy Stock Exchange video. Today, we're doing our redraft rankings 1 through 8 for the running back position. Guys, we're excited to kick this off. I hope you're excited to watch this because this is going to be a riot. A lot of people defending their takes. You got Evil Tyler here today. Let's hit the intro.
What am I? What draws my admiration? What is that which gives me joy?
Dave.
Running back rankings?
Alrighty, so like Tyler said, running backs 1 through 8. If you want to see 9 through 16 / the rest of our rankings, we're going to have them with the link below. All you got to do is type in your email, and it'll be a cool, with Tyler's artistic skills, graphic of all of our running back rankings mixed together. So let's go ahead and start this off. The 101, if you don't take him at the 101, you don't deserve to have the 101, Christian McCaffrey. The only thing I'm going to say about Christian McCaffrey is there's 155 vacated targets on this team, and I know Robbie Anderson and Ian Thomas, who's never had more than 50 in a season, are taking that. That's the only thing I have to say for him. He might do what he did. I think that his stat line is what he did last year with the high chance to produce more. This team's going to be trailing. Teddy Bridgewater I don't want to say he's going to dump it down, but the whole offense, I think, due to the lack of training camp and the two new coaches, is going to be very condensed. It's going to be DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey. So take him and don't even think about having a decision at the 101.
Guys, just don't overthink it. I mean, when a guy has a record-setting season last season and nothing really has changed in terms of his workload, why would you not take him at the 101? Like, there's going to be people that are going to argue Barkley over the offseason. I see it from other fantasy experts. But, I mean, in general, how much do you expect Christian McCaffrey to regress to even have Barkley in that conversation? It's because it's going to be a lot because McCaffrey literally outproduced every other running back last year by 8 points per game. So, I don't know.
It's all Teddy. He went to a team. Teddy Bridgewater is the king of dump-offs. He averages like 7.5 yards.
I don't know about dump-offs, but –
well, I'm not saying that like he can't perform as a quarterback. I'm just saying everything he does is in the short game. So McCaffrey's going to like live off of that. I genuinely could believe he could do even more if potentially the quarterback situation I think is remarkably better. There's other threats in the offense that may actually take away people from the attention of him, although he will still demand a lot. And his running ability is phenomenal. Nothing happened to him. What are we thinking? Like, it's not like rapid changes have just been made. Nothing's changed. He's still your running back 1. Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no even reason to consider anyone else. To me, if it's any kind of PPR too, you don't need, it's McCaffrey's in a tier of his own because Saquon, while we like Saquon's volume and ability in the receiving game, he hasn't even sniffed McCaffrey's territory in terms of a target share, in terms of the amount of like the offense runs through Christian McCaffrey. It's not even just that he like gets dump offs all the time. Like half the plays in the playbook are probably designed to get him the ball. Easy 1-on-1.
Yeah, I mean, when you're getting a running back that gets 116 catches last year and is top 5 in overall targets, like, I don't understand how anybody could even argue him against the 101. Like,
absolutely. All righty. Number 2, like we said, is Saquon Barkley. And I don't want to say it's a clear 2 to me because I think a lot of it just kind of banks on the talent that Saquon brings with him. We see the games where he produces in big numbers, but we also saw last year that he was banged up. But we've seen even the year before that with those games that when the game script isn't going right, you just get completely shut down and due to volume gets you 11 points. So you just kind of forget about it like it's still Saquon, but I think he's still the 2. The only knock I think you could have on him is the schedule is a little bit tougher. So maybe that's why I think McCaffrey's far, far and ahead. So maybe he's just a little bit knocked down, but he's still the 2. Don't think about it twice. Andrew Thomas should help the O-line right away. At least we hope so. Year 2, Daniel Jones. I I mean, everyone's going to hate on Jason Garrett, but he was still a successful NFL coach for 10 years, whatever it is in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's still got another job, so he's definitely capable of getting an offensive coordinator team running. And I think that Saquon's ceiling is sort of tapped with the way they're going to run this offense. I know it's run first, but teams are just going to stack the box like they do every single year. Like, I know Bush loves Slayton, but Slayton, Shepard, and Tate aren't making your cornerbacks scared, or they're not like –
That's why I love Slayton.
They're going to focus on the run.
Because Barkley's the concern of the offense. No one's scared of Darius Slayton. They should be, but no one's scared of Darius Slayton. To me, the big two things for me that separate McCaffrey and Barkley are, one, like you said, the offense, while it's improved because they added Andrew Thomas, who I think is going to be a stabilizing force on their offensive line. But the big thing for me is the splits in Barkley's receiving work once Daniel Jones took over the starting job. Obviously, Eli Manning can't move. Like, he's stuck in mud. He obviously looks to use his check down a lot more than Daniel Jones has shown to do, at least thus far since he's been in the league, because Daniel Jones can move, right? He doesn't always have to check the ball down. He can run for the first down, but nonetheless, like, Saquon has a complete monopoly, 3-down workhorse role. All the receiving work, all the goal line work goes to him in this backfield. So he's actually pretty easily the 102 for me.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch up upon that. He's my 102 as well, second overall running back. I've seen the Jason Garrett offense. I've seen it since I've become a Cowboys fan. The last 10 years has him being our head coach. It's going to be a Jason Garrett system. Like, Joe Judge is a special teams coordinator coming from the New England Patriots. He hired Jason Garrett to run the offense. And a Jason Garrett offense is run through his running back getting a huge workload, his number one receiver getting targets, and his tight end getting a lot of targets. Those are going to be the main contributors on this offense. Now, reverting back to Saquon Barkley, he's clearly the most talented player on this offense. I think we can all agree with that. Saquon Barkley is going to get 320, 330-plus touches this year. I don't think that's a debate. Like, Zeke Elliott, for reference, averaged over 50 catches per game under Jason Garrett. And Saquon Barkley, like, obviously I'm a big Zeke fan, but Saquon Barkley is a more naturally talented receiving back. So Saquon Barkley is probably in the edge for that 70, 80 reception baseline, in my opinion, even though obviously with Daniel Jones being under center, he's not going to reach the McCaffrey territory of 90, 100, 110. But you don't need him to be that, because he's going to be a top 5 rusher. He's going to catch probably 60, 70 passes, like I said. And in general, he's going to get the ball on the goal line. He's going to get touchdowns. We've seen it with Zeke. Zeke is one of the best goal line rushers in the league. Saquon Barkley is every bit as good, and that offense is going to lean on him. So to me here, I love Zeke, but Saquon Barkley, given the workload, is going to be the 102 in my opinion.
I have no argument. I think it's easy, 1-2. I mean, I there's such a separation between the next set, so we'll go ahead and move on.
Alrighty, so the next two, we have Kamara ahead of Zeke, but we'll kind of turn this into playing both sides of it, because I think this is probably the hardest decision of the first round, at least for me, when I have my overall rankings, because there is two sides to this. Absolutely, I can see it. So I'll start. I have Kamara at 3, but I'll start with Zeke, actually, so I can kind of counteract with Kamara. So the thing that sort of scares me with Zeke, and he's still going to be an RB1. I'm not too worried about that, but McCarthy in his coaching career at Green Bay, we can say that he's never had a running back with this skill set, but the offense was so good that the running back seemed like it was this good. So I'm not going to do the whole contract thing with Zeke and McCarthy, but his running back room, so all the running backs that he's ever had, averaged 344 rushing attempts and 93 targets a season. That's 437 opportunities. Last year, Zeke and Tony Pollard combined for 479. So if you're just going to play the average, that's obviously going to go down. He's going to see less work. He was out of shape last year. I will bet money on it that he's out of shape this year. They just added Dak. They are going to throw the ball. They added Dak, added CeeDee Lamb. They signed Dak back, kind of franchise tag. And Zeke's worst season in touches per game, yards per game, and yards per target were last year, meaning to me that they didn't prioritize him with Kellen Moore. I don't think they're going to prioritize him this year. And if he is out of shape, I think Tony Pollard is definitely capable, we've seen, of taking more work out of this. But like I said, I'm not going to play the contract, but you do have to put that in the back of your head that he is getting paid, so are they going to ride him? But that being said, moving on to Kamara, everyone is going to go through the whole touchdown regression thing without actually taking any numbers into it, because that's how Twitter likes to run fantasy football. So last year, Kamara red zone target TD positive regression, like I just said, 11 red zone targets inside the 20. Out of all the players with 11, so 12 other players, 12 total, 11 others, including Kamara, they had an average of 2.92 receiving touchdowns within the red zone with targets. Kamara had 0. So if you just regress that back up to 0, he was only a 1.5 behind Zeke in points per game. So I think Kamara just edges him. And if you're making projections, just lock in Kamara for 81 receptions because that's what he seems to get every year. He got the last 3 years. So I think I just prefer I don't want to say Zeke's uncertain, but he kind of is uncertain in what we're going to see with this offense. We don't know what we're going to see. So I think I just lean Kamara with the positive TD regression.
Sorry, I just want to touch up upon it because obviously Zeke plays for my favorite team. That's not why I have him ranked at 3 and Kamara 4. I mean, we're splitting hairs here. I believe in general, although they're in a tier with like the Cook, the Henry for me, I think they're the clear next two after the Barkley and McCaffrey. Touching up on Zeke, first of all, last year we saw how efficient the Kellen Moore offense was, and Zeke Elliott was the RB3 last year on the season. And other than adding replacing CeeDee Lamb with Randall Cobb and Mike McCarthy, who obviously I've said in the past he's going to pass the ball at a higher rate. What else has really changed from Zeke's perspective?
All-pro center retired.
I get that, but at the same time, we've seen Joe Looney in there before, and Joe Looney in 2018, where Zeke was still a top 5 running back. Like we've seen Zeke still be able to perform under those circumstances. So really, in general, I'm just looking at it in terms of an offensive pace. That Cowboys team is going to be a top 5 offense. Now, you can say the same for the Saints. I get that. But Zeke's going to be the focal point, whereas, the Saints still have Michael Thomas in the receiving game. I still think that while Kamara's going to get 80 catches, Zeke's not going to have less than 50. Zeke's not going to have less than 50. And Zeke's giving you 50-plus catches, and he's going to be top 3, in my opinion, in rushing, and he's going to have 15-plus touchdowns. Like, I get the argument for Kamara. They're both neck and neck, in my opinion. Ultimately, I just prefer Zeke because I do think that, in general, he's going to give you a more consistent baseline.
Yeah, to me, between these two guys, honestly, it's as simple for me as it's Zeke in standard and half PPR, and it's Kamara in full PPR. Because I think, as Danny mentioned, the offense is going to be really good. I think Zeke's going to have, and Zeke pretty much, while he has to split some receiving work and some other kind of carry work with Tony Pollard, he pretty much has a monopoly on the goal line opportunities, and I think there's a solid chance that Zeke scores 12-plus rushing touchdowns this year. So
yeah, for sure.
To me, that's the difference between him and Kamara. I think Kamara will also score a lot of touchdowns as well, but I feel safer at projecting Zeke for touchdowns, if that makes any sense. And like I said, in full PPR, give me Kamara because no matter what we think of Zeke's receiving workload, I think there's no chance in hell Kamara doesn't have at least 20 more receptions than him, whether Zeke gets a lot or not.
I just wanted to touch upon, this is based on half PPR. Obviously, when you take into the full PPR aspect, that 80 catch baseline versus 50 catches is going to take more of an effect. I just think, given the neck and neck, give me Zeke because I know exactly what I'm getting in terms of a rushing floor.
I don't know. I think there's I think when it comes to that kind of argument, I think Kamara's just going to be more effective. I'd much rather have Latavius Murray is my backup than Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard's actually going to take a pretty good step up this year and start providing value to that offense. Going into his second year, we talk about McCarthy and the fact that he is a passing-based offense, and he will get receptions, but I feel like the rushing floor may drop a little bit, which kind of just proves that little bit of a separation between them. My number 4 is Kamara and Zeke. So all 3 of my 3 through 5 are just right there in the same tier. Not much separation between them. But things like getting receptions and then getting the volume running wise puts Zeke at 5 for me, but it's by a very, very slim razor thin margin.
I'm going to challenge your 4 then if you're going to go.
We'll definitely get there.
I think my 4 is just going to get a lot more receptions.
I disagree.
Based on what, though?
All right,
we'll get into that.
We'll get there.
All right, so next up here, due to Tyler not believing in the best running back in the league and Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook is our 5th consensus running back. We all have him at 6. Listen, Dalvin Cook is one of the best running backs when he's healthy. He's an elite pass catcher. If he I know everyone throws this net. If he played the full 16 games, I think he would be one of the best of all time if he was the workhorse every single season. Because he came out as one of the best prospects we've seen, probably close to Saquon Barkley and on. He's shown that, but he's never finished a full season, so you cannot project him to finish a full season. He has a high injury risk from Sports Injury Predictor, one of the best injury for all sports. It's MLB, NBA, etc. He is not going to finish the full season. If he does, prove me wrong, cool. He'll be the RB1 or 2, whatever. But Alexander Mattison still saw work when he was healthy last year. Yes, he's going to see an uptick in passing work because Justin Jefferson isn't going to come into his own right away. And there's a lot of vacated targets, I think 110 if I remember right.
Yeah.
But I'm still just off Cook unless you're going to pay up for Madison, which I'm going to pay up anyways because I think that he's going to be a flex. Like you guys like Edmonds. It's the same conversation. I think Madison is an upgraded Edmonds with a clearer path to being an RB1, which we saw last year. So I think, yes, I have to rank Dalvin Cook here at 6, but I'm not a huge fan of him. And he's not going to be going as at the 105 if you exclude Michael Thomas. If you throw him in there, the 106, he's going to be going he will probably be picked before Zeke and Kamara in most leagues if I had to put money on it. If you just take
I don't know about that. To me, I'm with Cook. He's my 6. I have him ahead behind the other top 5 in my opinion. And the reason he's my 6, and you actually touched on it, is because I feel like I'm obligated to pay up for Madison if I draft Dalvin Cook, and I'm not like in the business of handcuffing running backs, but Dalvin Cook, you have to do it. Like you have to get Madison if you get Dalvin Cook, in my opinion, because. Yeah. If like Lucas said, Dalvin Cook, he'll probably play 12 games guaranteed, but you can't project him for 16. If he plays 12, he's probably going to be like the RB1 or 2 in those 12 games. But if you don't have Madison, you might be fucked for the playoffs. So
I actually just want to mention, like, obviously, like we still see like the ceiling on a points per game basis is going to be high with Cook, but we haven't even taken into account like they lost Stephon Diggs in the offseason. They replaced their offensive coordinator. Like there's a lot of like changing factors that are going to go.
The offensive coordinator change doesn't matter because Kubiak is running the show anyway.
Yeah, it helps. I think Kubiak helps that offense because it's going to be more. It's going to be more like fun and experimental for the pass catching of the run up. You saw C.J. Anderson was a beast when he played with Kubiak. C.J. Anderson, he was like he caught passes for him. So I think
guy's fat as shit
Vikings. The Vikings the only part that's going to be bad for the Vikings is the corners. Outside of that, like their O-line, we say this every year, is not good. They somehow make it to the playoffs and run for close to the most yards in the NFL.
Their pass blocking isn't good. Their run blocking is always good.
Yeah,
they were top 5 run blocking offensive line last year per grades.
So I guess what we're saying
PFF.
I mean, I'm assuming most of you guys kind of have the same thoughts. We all of them ranked the same spot.
Yeah.
You can take him, and yes, the phrase is pay up for Madison, but if I took, I don't know, Zeke, the pick ahead of him, I'm just going to pay up for Madison. Like, and just make it so you don't get him. That's the thing I don't get. Like, everyone says pay up for Madison. Like, there's 11 or 9 other owners. They could pay up for Madison too, and you'd be screwed. You just wasted your first-round pick. Like, I get you're going to win some games, but you still need him for the full year. So just take Zeke, take Kamara.
There's a solid chance that you could trade for Madison after week 4 or something when you kind of forget about it. Like, and Cook hasn't gone down yet.
Yeah.
So I mean, people are still.
I think if you pick Cook, regardless, so you got to get Madison. Like you just have to. He's probably the only running back on my list that I would rank this high that you like have to get his handcuff. But it's because he's that valuable when he actually plays.
Yeah, agreed.
So you got anything to add?
Yeah. So with Dalvin, it's just it's that late round concern. I mean, yes, he's going to be dominant when he's on the field. I think the offense is built for him to be dominant when he's on the field. The issue is you have to try and account for the injuries, and that just lowers him to 6 in my rankings, which really isn't bad. It's just more or less I have to discard like 2-3 games every time I want to slate him out because of the fact that he's going to get hurt, which I do not like in my running backs, but it's something you just got to deal with, which is unfortunate.
He'd be my clear RB2, to be honest. He'd be ahead of Barkley for me. If someone told me right now he's going to play 16 games next year, he'd be my RB2. So, like, no, like we don't even know how good Dalvin Cook can be because we've never seen it over a full 16 games.
We're never gonna know. It's like
I don't know. That's true.
We're probably never gonna know.
Which is why you basically have to cover your own ass by getting Madison because you can't actually count on him to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going RB heavy, like then I'll probably take Cook if you're getting like Carson, Montgomery, Love Bell because you can make up for it in the long run. But yeah, it's the same conversation.
Well, you won't know that though until you take Cook. Because he's your first-round pick.
Absolutely. All righty. Next up, like I said, Tyler does not believe in Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry is – I was surprised you guys all had him at 5. I thought I was super high on him. So he is all of our 5s, Tyler's 10, so our overall 6. So
I'm
Tyler,
so sorry
You can't not have him outside the top 6.
Well, we can make arguments for you guys too.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
you're really low, man. I didn't even notice that.
Tyler, you go ahead, and there's nothing I need to say about Henry. Actually, I'm just gonna go first because I literally have 1 point. So yes, you can take the averages in the regular season, whatever you want to do. But remember when they went to the AFC Championship and they were winning? Yeah, I remember that. 27 rushing attempts, and they kept doing it. So you can say no, like the case that we never seen a quarterback do it again. Lamar's going to do it again. We've never seen a running back do it again. Yeah, because no running back is as good and powerful as Derrick Henry has ever been. There's a reason he did it 3 games in a row and no one could stop him because he's that good. Nothing's going to change. If someone could have stopped him, the Ravens, one of the best run-stopping defenses last year, would have been able to do it.
Hey,
Chiefs,
Tampa Bay
really
couldn't
good defense
stop
at
him.
home.
Ask Earl Thomas how ferocious he is as a runner. I mean, Derrick Henry just pointed at Earl Thomas.
I already know what Tyler's going to say. You're going to say that he doesn't get passing work. For Derrick Henry, it doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
He's going to be the top.
He's going to get the big plays. He's going to get 25-plus carries a game, and he's going to get all the goal line work. That's good enough for me to rank him in the top 5.
I love Isaiah Wilson. However, I do not love him this year. They lost probably one of the top, I would say top 5 in all honesty, right tackle, run blockers. He's absolutely incredible.
Was he the one that got suspended?
No, that was oh shit, that might have actually been him.
Yeah, so he didn't even play the first 4 games too. So
Isaiah Wilson.
I get your point, but
let's play the game. So 28 week 1 it was against Cleveland. No shit, Cleveland sucks at everything. 16, 11, and 10. That's not impressive. Like those are the 4 games.
No running back is going to get 25 points a game.
Dude, it was
unless you're
McCaffrey.
It was against
unless you're McCaffrey, you're not going to get 25 points every game.
Jacksonville and Atlanta were 2 of those games. He put up 11 and 10 against both those.
Yeah, and guess what? He gets to play Jacksonville again. He gets you 10 points a week because touchdowns are fluky.
He also had Mariota as his quarterback then, who couldn't fucking drive the offense anyway.
Tannehill's the same way. Tannehill really isn't that effective. It's a run-based offense.
Take the splits with Tannehill.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, Derrick Henry in those 4-game stretches had 4 touchdowns.
He averaged 1 touchdown a game. Why can't he do that again?
It's about running efficiency. I
don't
believe his production
is probably going to get a touchdown a game still.
How many rushing touchdowns do you think he's going to get this year, Tyler?
Minimum 10.
So
minimum 10.
I think he's going to get 15.
His high end upside, no joke,
20.
he could actually have a season with 18 rushing touchdowns.
So here,
16 last year. I don't see him doing more than that.
Why not?
How are they not going to sell out for that? Are you kidding me?
They do it. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You got a 6'3", 250-pound
sellout.
They were 1 play away from beating the Chiefs, and Mahomes got a lucky scramble on 3rd down, or else they would have won that game. Because that was I watched games and where's the turning point? That play led to a field goal, and then they got a cheap touchdown before the halftime. The Titans would have gotten the ball, drained the clock, been up by 10 at halftime. I bet you they would have won it. He had 27 rushing attempts per game against 3 good defenses in the play. The Patriots defense.
They would have won the Super Bowl too, because there's no way the Niners linebackers are tackling Derrick Henry in the Super Bowl.
The only concern is Conklin, but they play the first easiest strength of schedule in rush efficiency defense, and they play the second easiest in terms of 2020 win total. So you were just talking about garbage time. They're going to be up in most games. They're going to be controlling the tempo. They're going to feed the ball to Derrick Henry.
And Wilson will struggle in pass protection, but I'm willing to bet. You know how big Isaiah Wilson is? He's basically the size of Mekhi Becton. If he's going to learn any part of being an NFL offensive lineman quickly, it's going to be run blocking, not pass blocking.
And I mean, Derrick Henry, even if you have 2 free guys that aren't getting blocked on a play, who's saying they're going to tackle him in the hole?
We're doing this on reception.
That's a scary dude.
So why is Chubb your 7? Why is Chubb your 7 then?
The reception thing, it doesn't matter for
that offense is going to elevate even more rushing.
Chubb is a B-tech Derrick Henry in terms of fantasy.
Yeah.
Why? I think he's a better offensive system set up for him. If they want to win, if Cleveland wants to win, it has to be through the run game.
Derrick Henry doesn't have to compete with Kareem
Hunt. They proved they could do it through the pass in the fucking season.
No, they did not. No, they did not. A.J. Brown had 3 catches a game.
Fucking Daniel had 300 yards and
it wasn't a lot of volume. It was just a lot of efficiency.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, efficiency through passing the ball some games. Some teams stop the run. It's not.
Why were the passing attempts open? No.
In 3 games in the playoffs, did the Tennessee Titans not throw the ball a combined 30 attempts?
Okay. So you guys hold up. You guys are 100% sold in the playoffs, right?
Okay, I'm not 100%
Yeah,
sold.
When they won, when they went,
So where's Damian Williams? You guys top
He was a-
25. Like
Derrick
I'm just
Henry's-
saying, like don't
They have
just
Clyde
count the fucking
Edwards-Helaire now.
playoffs.
What do you mean?
it's completely different.
Don't
Okay.
just
All right, we'll move
all your
on.
fucking
We'll
weight
move
into the
on.
playoffs like that matters. Like that
No, but the argument
It's
the
attacked
argument
differently.
was that even without the playoffs, he still got 20 rushing attempts and a touchdown a game in season. No other running back like Zeke might get 20.
Maybe
McCaffrey
Nick
doesn't
Chubb
get,
gets that.
Maybe Kamara.
Maybe.
I highly doubt it. Like
Maybe
20
Josh
opportunities.
Jacobs gets that.
But we got these based
So,
on
what we're
receptions,
saying-
and I believe all these guys that are ahead of him are just going to get more receptions. Outside of, I think Chubb will actually get probably a little bit more, and I just think Chubb's going to be in a better
Who
situation.
cares?
I think
Who
there's a
cares how
fall
many
off. I'm
receptions
sorry.
Derrick Henry
I just
gets?
think
I don't care.
If we're comparing 18 catches to 30 catches, give me the guy
Listen,
who's going to rush for
Derrick
fucking
Henry is going to get
1,500
7
yards.
more carries a
Who do
game
you
than Nick
think? Who do you
Chubb
think
gets.
NFL teams are going to let beat them? Baker or Ryan Tannehill? Because I'm a Baker hater, and I think they're going to focus more on Baker than fucking Ryan
Neither.
Tannehill.
No, neither.
Does it
I don't think it
matter?
matters. I think they
It
focus
does
on the run game
matter.
regardless.
How does it not matter? If you're selling
All
out
right.
for the run when Ryan Tannehill's your quarterback,
but
that's going to matter.
They did sell out for the run in the playoffs, and he had 27 rushing attempts.
You guys
and
are
went to the
fucking
AFC
leaning on
Do you
the
Championship.
think
playoffs.
Wake Martindale, like one of the
Just
best like
making takes on the playoffs
defensive
then.
coordinators in the league,
Okay, in
didn't know he had to
season,
stop
they-
Derrick Henry to win that game?
They
Ask
made it
Earl
to the-
Thomas when he thought of Derrick Henry's stiff arm.
All right, we got to move on.
All right,
from
we'll
Derrick
move on.
Henry.
All right, next up is Joe Mixon. So
Yeah, here we fucking go.
Tyler has Mixon at 4, and I'm not okay. I love Mixon.
Oh my
Any
God.
take you're gonna make about upgrading production, yeah, it's false because
How?
last year would have been the year.
Dude,
Last year
you
would have been
added
the
a
year.
quarterback who literally dumped off 55 times in like 13 games
He
last
didn't
year.
dump it off. They were set up plays because their offense was so good that Edwards-Helaire was
So,
the
so why can't
the
the same
fourth option on the offense.
formatted offense work for Zach Taylor?
All right, you go
Well,
first.
okay.
You got
All right,
got
go-
Mixon at 4. So break down Mixon for us.
It's simply based on receptions, and plus he's going to run more efficiently because there's actually a talented quarterback there.
The second argument, I agree with you. He's going to run more efficiently. Why is he going to get more receptions?
Exactly.
Joe
And that's
Burrow. Joe Burrow's going to give him more receptions.
Okay, so
Okay.
Gio Bernard still isn't going to come on the field on third down?
Because
Why? I doubt they give him that much attention. Seriously, Mixon can play
those
3
every
downs.
year. They have every year Mixon's
Okay.
been in the league.
Because Joe Burrow was playing at LSU, there was an extra running back
How
there
many-
going out or what?
How many receptions
John
do you have
Emery.
Joe Mixon like on pace for, give or take, if you were to project it now? How many do you think he'll get?
I don't
He's
fucking
35 last year.
He
He had 35.
36 in
Ronald
his
Jones
career.
had 31. Ronald Jones
The
can't catch.
only thing
and he had
I mean,
31.
last year. What makes you seem that he
Okay.
had 20 more?
I just want to ask you,
How
how
better offense?
many catches do you think he'll get next year?
I'm going to slate him for 55 to 60.
Okay, Zeke
why
Ellitt's going
don't-
to get 50 plus, and Zeke Ellitt's also going to rush for 400, 500 more rushing yards this year than Joe Mixon.
Why?
Why-
Why is Zeke going to get more receptions? He literally just added CD
All
Lamb.
right.
What?
All right,
You
all right,
want Zeke
all right,
Lamb
all
like
right,
he's going to get
all
all these fucking
Okay.
targets, but then you want Zeke to have fucking 72. Like I don't
There's
get.
166
You're pulling
vacated
shit out of your
targets.
fucking ass. To
How?
say,
I'm literally backing up. You literally just said,
All right, all right,
you literally just
all
said
right,
Joe
all
Mixon's
right,
going to
all
get 60
Yeah,
catches. When literally, like, what basis is Joe Mixon going to get 60 catches? He had
What-
35 last year. So he's just going to catch 25 balls magically. Okay.
AJ Green is not going to play an effect on this team. I
He
don't
did last
believe.
year, though.
Yeah, how? He didn't do
They
anything.
added T.
Game
Higgins.
last year.
He didn't
They
fucking
added T.
play at all
Higgins.
last
You love
year.
T. Higgins.
And you won't do it again.
They added T. Higgins. You love T.
How do you-
Higgins.
Okay, I just have one point. Because I love Mixon.
Me
I
too.
had him probably.
I do too, but
I
it's
had
not
him.
4.
So
Plus the line got better too. So
no, wait. Let me make my point first. Okay, so my point is that adding a guy that's never played a snap in the NFL does not make your O-line better. He might have been a good talent in college, but that was 3 years ago, 2 years ago. So yes, the offensive line's going to get better. Sure.
They
Okay.
haven't called it
Bernard's
a
still there.
offensive
Unless they cut Bernard, which they can, for 0 dead hit. Like they would take no dead cap, save about $4 million in cap, but they don't need to save cap. They have no other moves to make. They're fine. So he's still going to get some snaps. Adding T. Higgins, AJ Green coming back, John Ross coming back, and Auden Tate coming back does not increase Joe Mixon's
it's
receptions.
literally the most injured wide receiver core like in fucking football.
But they're
and it was
healthy,
injured
but
last
they're-
year, and he still had 35 catches last year.
That's what I'm saying. That was my point.
Because he didn't have fucking Burrow. Like,
Yeah,
Burrow's
but
like
even if
the
he-
ball off.
we don't
Like,
know that Burrow was the
Burrow
reason
makes
for the
these
check
fantastic
down.
plays. I get that.
Because
Like,
Burrow –
If you want to project, if you want to project Mixon for 55, 60 catches, then literally everybody on that receiving core has got to go down. Because
Yeah,
otherwise he's
sure.
going
Why
to catch
not?
40 passes.
Why not? I genuinely believe he's going to count on his running back.
You'd have to double his targets to get him that many receptions.
It wouldn't even be that hard. The offense sucked last year. They didn't. Their efficiency was horrible. Like no shit. Like he actually could do that.
We all like.
I'm not
Joe
saying it's
Mixon.
not possible. I just think I think it's a bit outlandish to suggest that that's going to happen over someone like guys like Zeke and Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry that you
His
have that
most
are just
productive
way
year, he
easier
had 55
projection.
targets, 45 receptions. Like, and that was still with a fucking terrible team and Andy Dalton as your quarterback who does not dump it off.
But Andy Dalton is perfectly fine of getting the ball to Mixon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he can get him to
serve
a
that
good
purpose,
amount of
Andy
times,
Dalton's
but Burrow will
good for
elevate
that.
that.
I just think that, like, the only thing, like, I love Mixon. I'll have him in a lot of leagues. But, like, every year the argument is he's going to see more receptions. But my thinking is he would have saw it last year due to the lack of weapons. The team that had a lot of drives, if it was inefficient, they would have just dumped the ball off to him. It's not like he was being triple teamed out of the backfield. So, like, it's just tough to see the upgrade because, yeah, Joe Burrow dumped it off for one season, but he also played 3 seasons prior to that, and they weren't dump offs. So they played out in the slot a bunch of times too. So they were. It's not like they were like, oh, here you go, just throw the. It's not the Tom Brady dump off the James White that he does 20 times a game. It's completely different. So I think that we.
Also, are we sure that Hilaire isn't a better receiving back than Mixon?
I don't know.
I think he is.
Know, to be honest.
He might be. Like,
not to mention, like Joe Mixon would need like 25, 30 more catches to be ahead of Zeke this year, and you have him ranked ahead of Zeke.
plus the touchdowns are going to be in
exact
Zeke's
same?
favor too. To me, I just don't see having him higher than Zeke. I don't mind you having him at 6 behind Zeke, but I don't see how you can have him ahead of Zeke.
I don't get why Zeke's going to go up in phenomenal amounts of targets.
He doesn't have to go up. He was the RB3 last year.
Top has all these
He
targets.
wouldn't-
Yeah, fair.
He
Randall
wouldn't
Cobb
have
doesn't even
to.
know what CeeDee Lamb is. CeeDee Lamb's going to take more targets away from Zeke.
Again, how many targets do you really think Zeke's going to lose? Maybe he catches 45 passes instead of 55. Even if he catches 45, he's going
That's
to be
10 passes down. He's
Joe Mixon. He's still going to rush for
10 more
300,
than
400
Mixon.
more.
the yards don't say the same. The touchdowns don't say. If you're going to lose 10
He's still
catches,
gonna-
that means you're losing yards. You're losing potential touchdowns. Like
Okay, you lose what? 18 points? Is that what you're projecting? 18 points. He's
Okay,
gonna
you
lose-
got to move on from Mixon.
Okay, yeah.
All right, next up, last one in our top 8 is Austin Eckler. So Danny switched around some things here before because he realized that he had Austin Eckler way too low. So Austin
I
Eckler
moved him one
comes in-
spot.
Yeah, so
Can
he's
I
still
can I
way
can
too
I
low.
stand for my boy here?
Yeah, then I'll go after you because we're both pro Austin Eckler.
I like
Okay.
him too. He's
So
not,
I know what Danny's arguments are going to be already. So I'm gonna knock him
I'm not
down a
arguing
peg.
against him.
So
Let
yes,
us go
Austin
first.
Eckler's efficiency might see a slight decline. Obviously, regression. The term regression means regression to the mean. Regression to the mean for Austin Eckler means he's going to still catch 10 yards per catch because that's what he's done his whole career. So any spike down in efficiency that Austin Eckler sees should be offset by a slight volume increase with no Melvin Gordon in the picture. I'm going to I'll have Tyler put on the screen actually. A game splits of last year with no Austin Eckler or with no Melvin Gordon. And no, I'm not talking about how many fantasy points he scored or how many touchdowns he scored. I have circled here the rushing attempts, the rushing touchdowns, and the rushing yards. So 6.33 rushing attempts with Melvin Gordon in the lineup and 14 without him. I don't think it's going to be 14. I think it's going to fall somewhere in the middle. But the point is that he's going to see increase on the ground, which should help offset some of his receiving efficiency. He also, if you notice, he had 0 rushing touchdowns, 0, when Melvin Gordon was there, as opposed to he had I believe it was 3 without Melvin Gordon in those 4 games. And then obviously the rushing yards is about double as well. To me, it's those games were consistent in terms of his volume too. He just saw higher volume as a ball carrier, and that way he's basically just going to offset any kind of efficiency decline that he sees. And let's not pretend that he's any worse at football. He's still going to be hyper efficient.
Yeah.
So I'll just add on to that. There's a couple more things with him. So you touched on the splits. So without Melvin Gordon, 60% of the rushing share in the games the last 2 years, actually, since I know he played a little bit when Melvin Gordon got hurt. The vacated production, 172 rushing attempts and 58 targets. Okay, you could say Josh Kelly, but if Josh Kelly was really that good, he would have I would have heard of him before we did the draft guide if he was really that good. I had no clue who he was. And they traded away their 2nd and 3rd round pick to go get a linebacker that they really don't need because they didn't prioritize running back. Tyrod Taylor, yeah, sure, he dumps the ball off. No, he doesn't dump the ball off. Shady was the best player he had at Buffalo every single year he played. Name another good player on the team. And if you think that a rushing quarterback's going to hurt his catching ability, when Melvin Gordon returned, he played 33% of his snaps out wide or in the slot out of the backfield. That's not changing. They paid him. They had the clear capital to go take Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Allaire if they wanted to. They traded back up, and they didn't get anyone. They got Josh Kelly and a 7th-round pick. Maybe those guys see 50% of what Melvin Gordon saw last year, sure, because they are going to play. But Eckler is the focal point of this offense. He's going to play the slot, I think. I think he legit will have more slot snaps than maybe in the backfield snaps because they're going to need to get creative to keep up with the Chiefs, hopefully the Broncos, hopefully the Raiders. Their defense is stacked. So I have him at 8, but I mentioned before that I could easily see him being a top 3 running back because he can just build off what he did last year and take more rushing attempts.
Yeah, and quick, one last thing that I forgot to mention. His 5 highest carry totals of the season, 4 of them were the 4 games that Melvin Gordon was gone. So again, like I said, the carry totals should balance out instead of being like mad volume in the receiving game and only a little bit of volume as a running back. I think it'll balance out a little bit more.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch upon it. You made it seem like I was super low on him. I moved him up.
Well, you are.
How?
Because we can foreshadow this. So why do you have Sanders way ahead of him? So your argument with Sanders is the receiving work. Eckler's receiving work not going to be better than that?
We'll get into it, but I mean, we're talking about Austin Eckler's efficiency this year. Miles Sanders was the 7th most efficient running back on his touches. He turned 229 touches into almost 1,400 yards from scrimmage last year. What changes between that other than giving Miles Sanders more of a workload? Like this, keep in mind, this is
what changes for Eckler other than giving him more of a workload? Who's actually more efficient than Sanders?
Let me just get into it. They didn't bring another back. Like I know we're talking. That's what I'm saying. We're basing the rankings off right now.
They're going to, dude. They're going.
They offered 3 guys. They offered 3 veteran running backs.
If they sign a veteran running back, I'll adjust accordingly. But if we're basing it off right now, he's a 7. I just think he's going to get an overall volume. Like he's going to get overall more volume than Eckler.
If they sign a veteran back, I'm moving Miles Sanders up because they'll realize, shit, we can't actually count on this back.
Jordan Howard was the main back. There's a reason that he was the main back.
Yeah, because he was.
And yet, Miles Sanders was still top 15. But let me just add one thing.
That was a
because Howard got hurt for half the season.
We're talking about Eckler right now, Danny. Not Miles Sanders.
Let me just add one thing. The 7, 8, 9 for me is Sanders, Mixon, and Eckler. They're literally all the same tier for me. So if you want to argue one over the other, I don't give a fuck. Just they're the same tier.
Yeah, and that's the same for me as well. Like Mixon, Sanders, Eckler, Chubb, and Jacobs are all in the same tier for me. So they're all very close. I just prefer like I said, I prefer like certain guys over the other. I prefer Eckler and Jacobs and Mixon to Chubb, Drake, and Sanders.
For sure. I mean, we'll get into more of the Sanders next video, but let's touch up on Eckler again. We saw it last year. He's an ultra talented back. We saw obviously you can't project he's going to do what he did without Melvin Gordon for the first 4 games because on pace he was literally the RB2 behind McCaffrey in those games. But who's saying he still can't be an efficient back with more of a workload? I mean,
touchback though. You said that we can't project what he did without Gordon, but Gordon's not there. So why can't we project that?
Well, he had 27.5 PPR points per game.
But why though? Why is the regression? You have to give context to the regression. It's not this regression.
Well, they also added Josh Kelly, as you mentioned. I don't necessarily believe that
Melvin Gordon.
I don't necessarily believe that Josh Kelly and Justin Jackson are going to be huge factors, but they are going to take an overall touch workload off of them. Not to mention, like, although we want to diminish the quarterback turnover, it's still a factor. You still got to project it in. So whether that's between 27.5, like that's an unsustainable number unless you're Christian McCaffrey. Like no other running back in the NFL is going to reach that.
Tyrod Taylor is better than Kyle Allen and Will Grier.
So are we going to give Eckler McCaffrey's 21 touches per game pretty much?
He did those 4 games without Melvin Gordon.
Yeah,
he had 20. He had exactly 21 when Melvin Gordon was in the lineup.
But that's what I'm saying. Are we going to project?
If Justin Jackson was good, he would have had touches those 4 games.
Are we going to project Eckler to get 21 touches per game this year?
That's
if we are, then he's going to be a top.
Gordon.
But if we're going to project, are we going to project that for a full season? Because if we are, he's going to be a top 3 back. So
I'll give him 18.
Yeah, that's probably about where I'm going to say.
If he's 18, he's probably going to be a top 5 back. Realistically,
I said he has the upside. That's what I said. He has the upside to be top 3.
So if you're projecting him for 18 touches a game, why don't you have him in your top 3 then?
Because we can't. I'm projecting him for that. We don't know, but the odds are that that's going to happen.
But I get that. But that's my point. We can project him for 18, 20 touches per game. Like the upside is there. I don't think any of us are arguing it. There's just risks here. There's turnover at quarterback, and there's an addition.
There's not
Even McCaffrey has risk though.
I get that, but if
why is he
he
going to
had
regress?
no risk,
Like,
if we projected him to stay at his pace that he was last year, again, he would be a top 5 ranked back.
No, it's all right. You're allowed to disagree with us. You think he's obviously more risky than he is. I personally don't think he's very risky at all. I think he's very safe.
I don't want you to say regression without giving me anything that's going to regress.
You're arguing that I'm low on him when I have him at 9. You have him at 8. Corey has
not
him
low, but you're saying that he's going to regress with no context to why he's going to regress.
I mean, why wouldn't he regress from last year? In that
why wouldn't he
pace?
not though? The player that was holding him back is gone.
And any player can have a 4 game good split. Is what
Derrick Henry did it.
He had a 16 game good split. He was the RB4 last year.
He had a good split over the season, but that 4 game split at the beginning of the season was historic. There's a difference.
Hey, you said the same thing about McCaffrey for why you should pick him 1.
I get that, but we saw it over a 16 game pace. We only saw it for 4 games from Eckler.
Okay.
I mean, if we're talking upside, if he's able to do that for 16 games, he's going to be top 3. But in general, trying to project a 4 game split to carry over for 16 games is downright unsustainable.
No, I don't think it's responsible to project that. He scored 17 PPR points per game with Melvin Gordon and 27.5 without him. Like I said, I expect him to fall somewhere in between that, maybe 20 PPR points per game, which is on the lower end of that actually. So that's what I project him for. I think he's safe. I think he's going to be a top 5 back. I have him at 6 right now, and it's mainly just because Cook, if he stays healthy, would be better than him. But it's splitting hairs. Like to be honest, all like my top 12 running backs, if I get 2 of them to start my draft, I'm laughing.
Literally. No, when you're talking about Eckler, the upside is there. It's just, but whether you have them 7, whether you have them 8, whether you have them 9, all those guys are in the same tier.
Cool.
So it would be like.
All right, is that it, Lucas? We closing this one out?
Yep. Close it out, Tyler.
All right, guys, that was phenomenal. We had a great time. Did we? Maybe. Hopefully you did too. If you did, subscribe, hit the bell, like, comment, maybe follow our Twitters, maybe harass us there.
Probably dislike it.
What?
There will be dislikes, probably.
Oh, there will be dislikes.
You got a different take? Let's hear it in the comment section. You dislike? I want to know why.
We'll get those same dislikes like in the first minute of the video every time.
Listen, guys, I love you. We hope you love us. And you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.